Hi guys, welcome back. So I know I've been MIA lately. Last week I didn't really get to post much Diwali stuff. I didn't even get to post Parasad for you guys. I actually made Parasad, but I didn't get to film it. So I'm sorry about that. I will definitely do a Parasad video when I go back to Trinidad in a few months. So I didn't forget you guys. So this recipe is something I actually came up with. I was feeling for aloo pies and I had a bag of soya that I was supposed to cook for Diwali and I didn't cook it because I just wasn't feeling the Diwali vibes this year. But I hope you guys had a really safe and enjoyable Diwali. So yeah, I had soya and I was feeling for aloo pies. I figured I'd try something new, so I came up with soya aloo pies. So if you guys want to see how I do this really delicious recipe, then keep watching. So to start off, I'm gonna knead my dough first for the pies. I have some salt, some baking powder, flour, and a very tiny dash of sugar. So you just want to mix everything. And we're just gonna knead this and set it aside. So you want to knead it to form a soft dough. And the amount of water you use depends on the humidity of where you live. So it's a little bit cold here, so I may need a little bit more water than somebody in Trinidad where it's humid. So I'll have the link to my aloo pie video above if you guys want to check out that video as well. So once you knead it into a nice soft dough, you're going to cover it with paper towel or a kitchen cloth, and you want the paper towel to be nice and moist. So place this in a warm spot in your kitchen, because if it's too cold, the dough is going to get very dry. So I'm going to put this in my microwave and leave it to sit for like an hour, and then we'll start making our pies. So I have 1 bag of soya soaking in some water. You can do this overnight, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil mine for about 20 minutes until it's really nice and soft. And then I'll just squeeze all the water out of it. I'll show you guys how I do that. You'll need some green seasoning, fresh thyme, some chopped celery. Well, this is celery leaf. Try not to use the stalk. Try to see if you get the Chinese celery or like the Trini celery, but you just want the leaf. Some brown sugar. We're going to stew the soya. Half of a carrot grated. Some pimento peppers. This is what a pimento pepper looks like. It's very, very flavorful. Sometimes it can be spicy, sometimes it's not. It depends on where you get it. Usually at my grocery, I get some really spicy pimento peppers, but it's usually just for flavor and for taste. It's called seasoning peppers. And I have some ground geera. That's roasted ground geera. You'll also need some soy sauce and some ketchup. And I have my aloo or my potatoes boiling away here. You just want to boil it until it's really, really soft and that you can mash it. This is what we're going to stuff the pies with, as well as the soya chunks. So once your potato is boiled and very, very soft, we're going to mash it. So you want to add a little bit of salt. And go ahead and just mash it until it is very fine and there's no big chunks. So once it's mashed, we're going to add our seasoning, green seasoning. This is going to be linked in the upper right hand corner, the recipe. So I like to season up my aloo really good. I like a nice spicy and tasty pie. And I'm going to leave the rest to season the soya with. And you also want to add your geera. I'm just going to add a little and I'll taste it. So when you mix your seasoning and your ground geera, taste it to make sure it has enough salt and everything and it's to your liking, and then just set it aside. And now we're going to see about the soya chunks. So when your soya chunks is finished boiling, it's going to get really puffed up. It's going to absorb all that liquid. So what we're going to do is squeeze all the liquid out. So you're going to try to get all that water out and put it into our next bowl. If you want, you can try to squeeze the liquid in our next bowl so that it doesn't go back and absorb into the rest of the soya. And when it's finished boiling, soak it in some cold water so that it's easier to squeeze. So soak it in like cold water for about 10 minutes and then it'll be easier for you to squeeze. So I'm going to finish up this and I'll come back and we'll start to season up the soya chunks. So after squeezing the soya, this is how much liquid I got. And this is how it looks. It's not nice and plump anymore because I squeezed all that liquid out of it. So the first thing I'm going to add is some Sazon. I think I forgot to mention this in the ingredients. This one is the culantro e achiote. I'm sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing these things. So this is the one I like to use. I'm just going to use 1 pack. I just find it gives it a really nice flavor. It gives tofu, soya, paneer, anything vegetarian. It gives it such a nice taste and makes it taste kind of like meat. We're also going to add in the reserved green seasoning, and this has pepper and everything in it. That's why I'm not adding any extra hot pepper, because this is very spicy. I'm gonna add my pimento peppers, my celery, and just give that a good mix. I'm gonna add the carrots in here one time as well. I'm gonna add the ketchup, some ketchup. So this is just like if you're stewing chicken or any kind of meats. It's the same concept. Some soy sauce. I like to keep my soy sauce in a plastic bottle because the one I usually get in the can, that orange can in Trinidad, it's very messy when you keep it in your fridge. So I pour it out into this water bottle. So if you wanted your soya chunks to be very fine to put in the pie, then you can cut it up, or you can buy the fine soya chunks. They also have one that's very, very fine. So to a pot on medium-high heat, just add a little bit of oil and add some brown sugar. I don't know if I mentioned this, but all the exact measurements will be in the description box below. So you want the sugar to kind of swell and move towards the sides of the pan. It's going to get a really nice golden brown color. So you'll see how it looks when it's ready. So at this stage, you're gonna add your soya. Now you can add your thyme sprigs in. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to this bowl just to get the excess seasonings out. I'm gonna cook this down dry because when we put it in the pie, we just want it to have a nice thick sauce on the outside. We don't want it to be too runny or wet. So we're just gonna cook it until it develops a nice thick coating on the outside. I'm gonna add a very little bit of salt. So after 10 minutes, all the liquid should kind of thicken up and reduce a little. So at this point you can taste it to see if it needs pepper, salt, more seasonings or anything. Mine is good as it is, so I'm gonna turn it off. And I'm gonna start seeing about my dough for the pies. So I had the dough sitting for about an hour. Now we're gonna form it into smaller balls to make the pie. So depending on the size of the pies you want, then you do it to that size. I like to roll mine out pretty thin because I don't like a thick piece of dough. I got 12 small dough balls and I'm gonna put these aside and we're going to start mixing the soya chunks into the filling, to the aloo filling. So this is not all the soya chunks, this is just 3/4 of it. I'm not going to use all, I'm going to keep some for me to maybe eat with rice or something. So what I'm going to do is add my aloo or potato mixture to it. What you can do as well is you can add the soya directly to your dough if you didn't want to add the aloo. But I think the aloo kind of keeps it together inside the pie. So once your aloo has everything it needs and your soya has everything, then you may not need to taste it to see if it needs anything else, but you can if you want. So now let's start filling up the doughs and frying them. You want to put up a nice flat pan, a frying pan, a good enough size so that when you put the pies it's gonna fit. So I'm gonna put it up, half fill it with oil, just enough so that the entire pie can fry properly. So you're gonna stretch out a piece of dough. You can take your dough now and roll it out. And you're gonna put a layer of flour, just so that when you fill it and you try to stretch it, it's not gonna burst. Then you're gonna fill it with your filling. Now you're gonna bring the ends and seal them together. I'm gonna try to smoothen it out and pull it to the ends. Take your finger and push the filling to the ends. It ripped just a little bit, but that's okay. So I haven't finished filling all, but the ones that I did finish, I'm gonna put it to fry because my oil is nice and hot. So I'm gonna put them to fry. I'll put 3 at a time. So this is on medium heat and the oil is very hot. So I'm gonna let this cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. After about 4 minutes, the outside should be nice and golden brown. Well, light golden brown, not too dark. And it should be ready because the filling inside is already cooked and my filling was not thick. I spreaded it out really thin. Sorry, not my filling, my dough. So it would have cooked pretty quickly. So you just want to take it out and place it on a plate lined with paper towels and just let it drain the excess oil. So I'm going to finish up the rest and I'll check you guys back when I'm finished. So this is the finished product, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me see if I can open up one and show you. So this is how it looks. Just like an aloo pie, just with some soya in it. So I'm gonna put some chutney. Smells amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this really simple, yummy vegetarian recipe. If you liked it, leave me your comments below. Tell me if you've ever made this and tell me variations to this recipe. tell me how you fill your aloo pies, if you put chicken or whatever you put in it. I know my grandma makes egg pies. She mixes egg and aloo and makes an egg pie. I will have a shrimp pie recipe soon for you guys, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to see all my latest videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!